Hi guys, I'm an ABC, Australian-born Chinese who spent 10 years living in China and 10 years living in Australia. In each video, I will be covering different aspects of modern Chinese culture, ranging from the origins of popular internet slangs to the stories behind the most used apps amongst Chinese youth. So please stay tuned if you're interested. Today, the topic of our discussion will be 996. 996 is officially defined as working from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. for 6 days every week. Hence, if someone says something like, I'm working 996 again this week, it technically means that they are working about 60 hours this week, minus the 2-hour lunch and dinner breaks. The company can also make employees work overtime on top of these hours during peak season. There are many issues with this 996 regime, with the most obvious one being the burnout of workers. Many employees do not get enough free time for themselves. This is actually bad for the company because fatigue can result in decreased efficiency and increased rate of injury and death. Sometimes workers are also not told prior to hiring that their company is operating under the 996 regime. In extreme cases, employees have to come to work even during the holidays. Yet workers are not paid extra money for working overtime since they agreed to the deal in their contracts. There are many defenders of this regime, with the most famous one being Jack Ma, the owner of Alibaba, who has stated his views on Weibo, a Chinese social media platform. His long opinion piece can essentially be summarized as such. 1. Workers are extremely fortunate to be working under the 996 regime. 2. Many employees want to work under this regime but don't have the opportunity to do so, perhaps because their companies are too small or don't generate enough revenue. 3. If you don't work for 12 hours a day, then you don't deserve to work for Alibaba. 4. Things get complicated when legal logistics are involved. However, the law does not take into account everything else the company offers, including the ambient conditions of the working environment, the amazing food offered to employees, etc. Hence, it is unfair to conclude that this regime is as bad as it seems. 5. You won't even know what to do with your life later on if you don't work as hard now. Many people were furious over his remarks, and he later made another post where he toned everything down a notch. I think his views are controversial but interesting because the 996 regime can potentially be beneficial for particular companies and employees. For example, emerging startups or emerging departments in established companies may view 996 as a good thing, since they require hard-working employees to push them through to the next phase. Workers who are extremely passionate about their work or earning extra income can also bury themselves in just what they wish. Now, if workers are willing and companies are supportive, then it's true that this doesn't seem to be an issue. Yet in most cases, workers aren't compensated fairly for their efforts, and this regime is far from fair. The underlying issue for both employers and employees is a lack of trust. Employers don't trust workers to be efficient enough during normal office hours. Companies who employ this regime essentially value manual labour over skills and expertise. Younger employees who work harder may be favoured over older employees with families and more responsibilities. Companies risk paying the lacking intern to do the job in 10 hours, whereas they could have paid a more experienced manager to do the same job in 8 hours. This unhealthy working environment can actually be bad for companies over the long run. Older workers lose opportunities to further develop their skills, as they may be fired once their social life and physical capabilities restrict them from working overtime. I think this is a troublesome phenomenon that can be reflected in the broader society in China as well. China seems to be the epitome of manual labour. Everything that people own around the world seems to be made in China. However, China is often criticized for the quality of their products, ranging from smartphones to knockoff designer bags. Now, it seems like the quality of workers is also going to be on a decrease upon wider acceptance of this regime. Since its introduction in 2016, 996 is becoming a widespread regime in many companies. In fact, there are many people who are working even longer hours. Though many companies do not directly employ the 996 regime, employees are more pressured than ever to stay back in their offices. People are afraid of leaving before others do because they don't want to lose their jobs. 996 will become more acceptable to people once more people start to stay back, and the vicious cycle will only continue. And so, that's my take on 996. Please feel free to comment down below what you think of this regime. And don't forget to like and subscribe to this channel. See you in the next video.